Yeah, welcome to the Undergraduate Research Spring Symposium presentation workshop. I'll be presenting as long as America. I'll have her introduce herself a little bit. But we'll be going over some logistics about symposium itself, what's offered, what types of awards there are, as well as poster designs and what you should be doing. And then after this workshop presentation, we'll spend the rest of the hour just doing office hour style, like if you have any questions like about your posters, about the symposium, we're here for the rest of the hour to answer any of those. Before we begin, we want to do a land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that this land, which is named after the Ute tribe, is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshute, and Ute tribes. The University of Utah recognizes and respects the enduring relationship that exists between many indigenous peoples and their traditional homelands. We respect the sovereign relationship between the tribes, states, and the federal government, and we affirm the University of Utah's commitment to a partnership with the Native nations and the urban Indian communities through research, education, and community outreach activities. And here's our OUR mission statement. So the purpose of our office, which is coordinated, we organize both the symposium and this workshop, but the mission of our office is to facilitate and promote undergraduate, student, faculty, collaborative research and creative works in all disciplines at the University of Utah campus. Essentially, we're here for you and your research and to make sure your research is as successful as possible. So I'll be one of your speakers today. My name is Kishan. I am a computer science and biology major. I'm an undergraduate research leader at Office of Undergraduate Research. And my office hours are Wednesdays, 1:30 to 3 o'clock p.m., as well as Thursdays to 10:11. So if you ever have any questions related to research, feel free to stop on by. And the QR code is on here. And I'll have America introduce herself.
Hi guys, my name is America. I am a biology and a philosophy of science major. I'm also an undergraduate research leader, so I'll be seeing you guys in a little bit for the end of the presentation. My office hours are earlier in the morning, so from 9 to 10:30 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Kishan and myself are available at that time for you to schedule an appointment and kind of have like a drop-in hour. There's other undergraduate research leaders that have different office hours if any of those times don't work for you.
Okay, so what is the Undergraduate Research Symposium? So every semester, our office hosts the Undergraduate Research Symposium, and it provides an opportunity for students at the University of Utah who are working with faculty members to present their work in a scholarly setting to students, faculty, and other members at the University of Utah community. So undergraduate research from all disciplines are invited to present their research and creative work. So please, if you've done any kind of research and you have any kind of progress, even if it's unfinished that you can report on, feel free to make a poster and apply to present at our undergraduate research symposium. It is great experience both for your career that you can put on your resume and say that you have experience presenting at a symposium. The second thing is when you are presenting at a symposium, you get more connections and networking experience when it comes to interacting with people that are doing similar research in your field or in different fields as well. And the other thing is that when you are doing research, you want ways, especially when you're applying to graduate school or jobs, you want ways to show productivity. And one of the ways to show productivity is presenting at research symposium and having a physical poster that you can go in hand with that. So these are all good benefits that come with presenting at research symposium that we highly recommend that you all do. And so we also do in-person poster presentations, oral presentations, and creative presentations. And only U of U students with U of U mentors can participate. So how do I participate in the symposium? So we ask that you register by March 9th. There's limited space for oral presentations. So if you're interested in doing this, please sign as soon as possible. And we present in the Union on April 2nd, 2025. So hopefully that gives you enough time to both get results or whatever you need to be to register for the symposium and to present what you have. So symposium survival guide. So when you're at the symposium itself, we ask that you wear professional attire that's appropriate for what you're presenting about, and then wear comfortable shoes because you will be standing a lot. So there'll be dedicated hour slots where you'll be presenting, and during those hour slots, you'll be standing next to your poster for that session. So you want to make sure you're wearing comfortable shoes so that you don't hurt your feet. We ask that you bring a water bottle just because you'll be talking a lot to a lot of people and people will be passing by. We bring a notebook to write down any cool ideas you get or any important contacts or information that you might run into. And use this opportunity to meet other students and faculty members to get the most of your experience. Okay, and then when you are at the symposium itself, we want you to attend other presentations to support your classmates. just so that you can show your support and vice versa. So networking. So when you're at the symposium itself, please get to know your peers, make new connections. I'm sure there will be mentors there for other students. Please talk to them as well, and learn from each other. The whole point of a symposium is that you can learn the work of other people, the works of other people, what they've learned personally, from their own insights and from their own experience, and then also being able to make these connections with fellow peers. So for poster presentations, a research presentation should include a poster that should convey a compelling narrative of your research journey. So you should be starting to talk about why you're interested in this project, how you got involved, all the way to what the problem is, steps you took to answer the question you had, what results you got, what were some of the findings, and why it's important, and what are the implications of that. That should be the overall journey of your research journey that you should be explaining. And we'll go over a guide of how to structure your story and incorporate this poster as an extension of the story. So when you are giving your presentation, you explain this journey, but the poster should act as a supplement. When you are presenting a poster, there are some technical formats that we ask you to do. So poster size should be 36 by 48 inches. Avoid jargon and make the information accessible to everyone. Remember, even if you're doing your research in a specific field, the people that you are talking to are other undergraduate students for the most part, as well as other mentors in different departments. You want to make sure you keep the language very accessible, very understandable for everyone to understand what you're talking about in your slides. So when you're creating those poster slides, you want to use Google Slides, Canva, Adobe, or PowerPoint. And then you want to make one big slide and edit that one big slide into what your poster would look like. You want to resize the canvas into 36 by 48, and then you want to use high quality images. That's 150 to 300 DPI. So when you save your slide itself, make sure you save the highest quality, which is 300 DPI. And then when you're presenting, make sure you bring a water bottle, like we said, wear comfortable shoes, speak clearly. And then when you're talking to people that are listening to your presentation, establish your audience based on what their background is. So if you're talking to someone within your field, it's okay to go a little bit more technical and use jargon that you are familiar with. But if you're talking to another undergraduate student, make sure you can explain it down in terms that they can understand, while conveying the point through as well. And this is a good skill, not just in research, but in anything. If you're able to take some work that is really specific to some domain, but being able to talk about it to anyone. And don't forget to add logo your sponsors. So we ask that you add Awesome Undergraduate Research if you've been sponsored by them as a Europe Scholar, as a D Scholar, whatever it may be, as well as any other funding you got. Okay, and then for poster awards at our symposium, we have Best in STEM, Best in Humanities and Fine Arts, Best in Wellness and Health and Medicine, Social Science, Interdisciplinary Societal Impact, Best Narrative, Best Citation/Literature Review, and Best Use of Poster Visuals. So when you are submitting your poster, we ask that you submit it by a specific time, and you can qualify for these awards, so that you can also make sure, especially when you're putting a lot of hard work into your posters, you want to get recognized for it. So just like Shelly said, when you register, you don't have to be qualified for a poster prize. So just make sure you indicate whether or not you want to be qualified for that. And if you do, these are the awards that you can be qualified for. If you want to see more information about this, go to the link here or the QR code. You can also see last year's winners and get an idea of who won, and maybe use that to influence your poster designs and your presentations as well. And from here, I'll let America take over.
Okay, hey guys. So another thing to talk about when we're going through some of these posters, examples that might need improvement, and the ones that were exemplary, when as Shelly and Keyshawn mentioned, if you want to be considered for a poster award, it's not like you just show up with your poster that day. You need to submit it beforehand, and that there is a way to do that. So you need to indicate that you want to be considered, and then there is a due date on there that is on this former QR code on the 16th to make sure that you have it in with enough time for the judges to review it to determine those awards. Okay, so here we're going to start off with a poster that needs a little bit of an improvement. So if your poster looks like this, you're going to want to make some adjustments, because right here, just looking at it, if you're walking at a poster session, I don't think this is really going to attract your attention. There's a lot of words, not a lot of color. You know, I like to think of it as almost like a picture book sometimes, like you want it to just be less words. So as you can see here, there's a lot of space that's taken up by this abstract. So you don't even need to have an abstract on a poster. I know some places are like, put your abstract. Isn't necessary. If you feel very attached to it and you have to do it, you can, or if there's certain industry standards that your advisor really wants you to put it, you can. Otherwise, you only have so much space. I recommend using that for a cool figure or something. And then there's this introduction that it's just a lot of text. The text is really small. It's all packed together. Again, when people go to poster sessions, they're not going to go and read every single word on your poster. What they're going to do is they're going to walk by, maybe talk to you and kind of get the gist of your project. So again, don't have really small figures, figure captions, text, and don't cram things all together because you have your acknowledgements are very crammed. There's not a lot of space between those thick border lines in that text. So there is that. So now we're going to go to good examples, stuff that we do want to see from you guys. So these are examples of posters that won last spring. So we do have other symposiums in the fall and the summer, but they don't have exactly the same format as the one in the spring, which is in person, and we offer these awards. So this one was the best overall poster, and the following ones are also going to be the winning ones from last year. So when you look at this immediately contrasting to the one before, there's a lot of room for it to breathe. So it's not as crowded. I like the colors a little bit. Go Utes represent with that red. And then you can have a lot of pictures. So I can look at it. It pulls me in from a little bit farther away. Best poster visuals. So here, again, space to breathe. There's some colors. There's a lot of figures, less words. And the words that are there, it's okay to have an introduction and to put words in your methods because to some extent you need to have words, but it's not all words with small text crammed together. That doesn't really look good. So here, it's a lot of space to breathe to pull you in. And so for this one, I really liked best visual narrative. It's because I don't normally see a lot of posters about art. So you can go through and kind of follow this narrative. Again, if you were to see this poster from far away, it kind of pulls you in. And this was a good way to have that visual demonstration because you're using this as a tool for your presentation. It shouldn't really stand 100% on its own. It's there so people can talk to you and you can engage from then on. So there's the gist in the introduction and some background, and then their awesome narrative to follow. So when presenting this poster, it's really important to make a little bit of an elevator pitch because people are walking by from all sort of different disciplines, and you're going to want to try and hook them in and be like, hey, this is my research and I think it's pretty cool and you should think it's pretty cool and this is why, right? So you want to start with a hook. So you know, what is interesting about your project? Why should they care about your project? You have a silly fun fact. Sometimes that works, you know, if there's something like that people are like, oh, I had no idea. Tell me more about it. And then you can kind of go through your main points. You don't need to tell them every minute detail when you're going through it, because then after, if they have questions, they can follow up. So you kind of just want like a short overview so people can get an idea of what your research is, and then you can have more in-depth conversations. And then you can also see what their background is, because if it's someone that is in your field, then you can start to use a little bit of more of that jargon, but generally you want to keep it as broad as possible. So in addition to the poster presentations, there are oral presentations. So as we mentioned, there's a limited amount of space for these. So if you want to do an oral presentation, not only do you have to make sure that you register as soon as possible, but you need to have justification for why an oral presentation is best fit instead of a poster, for example. So they're going to be held in rooms throughout the union. So there will be like a schedule for a certain amount of presenters for a time and a room. So they will be 20 minutes. So they have a 15-minute presentation, 3 minutes for questions, and then 2 minutes to transition to the next presenter. So it's just like we have now slides up here and slides that you can see there. Similar to that, you'll have all those slides so you can use that as a visual aid. And similar to the poster, please don't put just paragraphs of words. People aren't going to go to see an oral presentation they would, if they wanted to read that much, they'd, read the papers or the book or something, and to like make it worth their while to go there and explain it. So visual aids, awesome. Students are also strongly advised to ensure proper connection to the projector before the presentation. And then the presentation schedules will be strictly enforced. So please do not be that person that, I know you love your research and I love that you love your research, but don't talk for 30 minutes because you need to stick to the schedule, because then that cuts your peers short on their time and it throws everything off. So make sure it's going to be strictly enforced. So if you don't say what you do in that time, you will be cut off. And if you don't like being cut off, don't talk that long. You can practice just like your elevator pitch, practice with your friends, with your people, 15 minutes. Okay, with the oral presentations, there you can create it through Google Slides, Adobe, Canva, or PowerPoint. And again, it's a presentation where you'll have like a TV screen to go through those slides. So whatever format is easiest for you. And again, make sure that all images and text is accessible and understandable to all audiences. So parents of people that are coming to see presentations, right? They might not know anything about it. Family members, your friends, you're someone else that's really awesome, but in a completely different field should also be able to understand it. So make analogies, do what you need to do to share that research. And then on presenting, again, visual aids should be used if at all possible. Bring your laptop and any necessary adapters. If you're like me and you have a MacBook that doesn't have an HDMI plug in the back, make sure you bring a connector. And then show up, make sure that it all works out. There are other forms of presentation. So there's the poster and the oral, which I'm fairly certain are the most common. But then there are also creative and visual arts presentations. So if you're doing a creative presentation, performances may be up to 18 minutes long. Upon request at the time of registration, OUR will work with performers to arrange for appropriate spaces for music, dance, and theater performances. Performances provide their own equipment, so we are not providing props or any of the instruments or speakers and stuff that's needed. That's on you, but we will provide you the space and a lovely audience at this symposium to make it happen. And then if you're doing a visual arts presentations, visual art presentations or exhibits may choose to present an oral or poster session. So like we showed that example before of some amazing art posters, you can do that as well. But upon request at the time of registration, OUR, so the Office of Undergraduate Research, will work with visual artists to arrange for appropriate spaces to exhibit a student's work. So again, if you're not doing a poster session and you want to do either an oral, creative, or visual arts, register soon so we can figure it out. There's limited space for these things because there's amazing students that have a lot of amazing work. So we only have one building, right? So get it in and we can figure it out. Okay, all presentations need proper attribution, which is really important. So we have our logo on our slides here for the Office of Undergraduate Research. Your poster needs the appropriate logos on there. So if you are NSF funded, you need an NSF logo. If we paid for anything for it for like Europe, our logo needs to go on there. Any other institution or funding for whatever reason that supported your research, you got to make sure it's on there. And that also means that if you and your buddy worked on it and your co-authors, make sure that you're both your names are on there because you both did the work. So if there's any questions about that, make sure you can talk to your advisor and say, hey, is there anyone else or any other logos that I need to include on this? And I'm sure they will be more than happy to help you decide that. If you need UROP if you did Traveler Small Grants and you need our logo specifically, that's what that QR code is for. So you can get that directly there. So if you are looking for presenter resources specifically for the Spring Symposium, this is the QR code for you to go to. Things to know is that you can print out your poster because you might be like, what the heck? My home printer can't give me 3 by 4 feet. That won't work. So we do have the resources for that. At the second floor, there is a fee for it. Sometimes your lab or your research group can cover those fees. You can see about that. There's also templates available. So you can go there and you're like, I don't know where to start with my poster. It's okay, we got you. It's there. There's also links to helpful education series events. So like if you are trying to make an abstract and you want one, it's on there. Networking, like we had it linked before. If you're like, I don't know how to network, we got you. It's all there. So, and guidelines for all sorts of presentation types. You have questions, go to that link and it should help you out. And to finish up, there is OUR research advising. So if you would like to make an appointment with me, Keyshawn, another undergraduate research leader, or any staff with the Office of Undergraduate Research, we're here for you, please. That's what we do, is we want to talk to you and we want to help you so you can take all of our money and do amazing things with research. So please make an advising appointment if you have any kind of question. There are no stupid questions. And this is the office's kind of information. That's our hours of operation. If you send me an email at 11:59 on Sunday, I'm not going to answer it until Monday morning. So, plan accordingly for that if you need something on a timeline. So, and you can stay up to date and join our mailing list.